The Beyerdynamic MMX 330 Pro is my new top gaming headset recommendation for FPS players. It actually cost me $330 as well, but I've tagged this and linked it below so you can see its current pricing. This is a wired open back headset with an included detachable 3.5mm cable. It's very long, 103 inches, plus a few more on the adapter, so no matter where your PC is placed, you'll be fine. Might be a bit much if you're using it with a controller. There's also a closed back version, the MMX 300. This has an impedance of 48 ohms, which makes it relatively easy to power by just a motherboard or even a controller. Because it's 3.5mm, it works on PC, Xbox, and PS5. The only controls are on the cable, volume, and mic mute. This has 45mm drivers that they call Stellar 45. These drivers, when combined with the form factor and materials, sound insanely good. This is definitely a treble forward headset, but every frequency is well represented, and these are the most receptive headphones to EQ that I've used. For FPS games, footsteps stand out perfectly, same with nades and other important cues. The bass gets very deep all the way through the sub bass to make it distinct from the rest of the audio, but it's very controlled. The mid-range sounds natural and not overly nasally, and the treble has excellent detail. It's not the harshest, but definitely sharp if you're not used to it. Because of the open back design, letting the bass vent out, the soundstage is very wide in comparison to most other gaming headsets. For the most part, if something is supposed to sound far away in a mix, it will with the MMX 330 Pro. Personally, I found this to be more relevant in more immersive games that have busier mixes. In Horizon Forbidden West, all the sounds in the forest, like birds chirping, or if you're standing near a waterfall, and there are also people talking, all the individual sounds in the mix really sound like they surround the player rather than everything seeming close up. By dropping down the upper mids and treble while boosting the bass in SteelSeries Sonar, I really enjoy playing single player games and listening to music with this, but I stick to default for FPS and most other use cases. Overall, 10 out of 10 sound for FPS games, and I'd probably enjoy the closed back version even more for other use cases because I just really love bass.
The MMX 330 Pro has an above average microphone. It's not amazing. One of the biggest weaknesses, at least on PC in particular, is that it doesn't have that much gain. So it's hitting around like negative 30 dB as I'm speaking into it. That's really quiet on its own, but also this isn't that great with plosives, P sounds, B sounds, and stuff like that. So you might need to pull this a bit away to prevent that, but then it's going to make it even quieter. So keeping it up close might be what you need, or some sort of software that's going to boost the volume. That's going to increase the noise floor also. Let me go ahead and do a little bit of keyboard typing because this does a decent job passively rejecting background noise. Once you do boost the volume, you're going to hear that a little bit more. And this is a condenser microphone, just like most gaming headset mics, so it doesn't do an amazing job at rejecting background noise, but passively it's pretty good because it doesn't have any sort of software attached to it. A little bit thin and nasally, just like most gaming headset mics, but it does a decent job.
I really love the comfort and build of the MMX 330 Pro. It's mostly plastic, but with some metal on the adjustment forks. I weighed mine at 316 grams. I'm not sure exactly why the headband is button on, but I think it's so that it can be replaced. Either way, it has some memory foam up top. The velour cushions keep in enough sound so that you can physically feel some bass, but not quite to the degree of pleather. And they don't get too hot. Overall, B+ in comfort. The only thing that keeps it from an A is the weight starts to become annoying during marathon sessions. Now for my verdict, I highly recommend the Beyerdynamic MMX 330 Pro, especially for FPS players. I like the sound even better than the Odyssey Maxwell. The mid-range doesn't have that kind of shouty sound, and what I mean by that is there's a bit of an unnatural mid-range in that device. Kind of sounds like you're speaking through a tube or something like that. I find that this sounds a lot more natural, but this is also capable of producing even stronger bass and sub bass if you want it. It's not going to be tuned like that by default, and it has the widest soundstage of any headset that I've used.